Hello, I'm Callum Dilietto, and this is season 3 of the Flock Together podcast in partnership with Visit Norway. We're here today at the Shangri-La at the Shard, London, and I'm joined by Ellie. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm very good, but you have literally just got off a plane from Barbados.
I have.
And I'm so jealous.
I mean, it was a pretty special week. I think winter sun just hits differently.
It really does.
Yeah.
And also, you captured it in such a envy-inducing way, because every time you updated your Instagram story, I'd see this beautiful shot. Every frame looked like it should be on a wall somewhere.
Thank you.
I mean, you have an eye for photography.
Thank you. I mean, I do like to take pictures, but also when you're in Barbados and it's 30 degrees, bright blue sunshine.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. It was so easy to capture. But yeah, I feel very lucky and grateful.
Talking of trips, the first part of the podcast is remembering. So
Yeah.
if you were to cast your mind back, what was your first ever work trip?
Okay, I have a very vivid memory of my first work trip, which is nice. It was to Marbella back in December 2019, and I was kind of like 3 months into the role, and the company take a trip at the end of every year to like celebrate the year they've kind of just experienced, and then do a strategy meeting for the year ahead. And being 3 months in, I was invited, which I was like, win. And the whole thing was a surprise. We stayed at the Kempinski in Marbella, and then up and headed into the mountains and stayed at the Finca Courtesan, which I don't know if you've been there, but it's the most beautiful hotel. And even at that time of year as well, the sun was shining, it was amazing. And then Marbella, I actually travelled to again in the January and hosted my first ever event there. So it's a special place. But yeah, it was a nice trip, and I felt excited to be there and grateful to be there as well.
Yeah, I've never been to Marbella, and obviously it's like one of those destinations where you've got Marbs, you know, party.
Yeah.
But then there's that other side where it's just beautiful.
It is so beautiful, and as well, I think like you can go out of season and experience a very different Marbella, and that trip very much kind of taught me that as well. But yeah, I thought it was just amazing that I was invited and that the company did a trip like that, to be honest.
Love it. And what was your most recent work trip?
My most recent one was to Slovenia. Literally a couple of days ago, I landed back the day before I flew to Barbados. And that was my first ever time there on a site visit for an event that I'm planning at the end of March for a cosmetic client launching a new skincare serum as such. So it was amazing. First time there, it's beautiful. I was blown away with it. It has so much to kind of offer, like the mountains, Lake Bled, the beautiful towns, the people were so friendly. So it was a fleeting kind of 24-hour visit, and then I deliver the event at the end of March. But it's understated, and I really like that about it. I haven't seen many kind of trips there, like mice trips there, so I think my client will absolutely love it as well.
Yeah, I really want to go to Slovenia and see Lake Bled. Like it's kind of been there on my bucket list for almost a decade now, where it's just been like kind of, oh, I must go there. And for some reason, I've just never taken action and been like, right, I'm going. I think partly as well because the perception I have of it is it could be quite romantic.
Okay.
And I feel like, from what I've heard, I feel like it should be like that kind of trip rather than maybe like a, you know, explory type trip.
I think it's quite adventurous place.
Interesting.
Like the program I'm planning has very different activities each day. There's like a hot air balloon experience that we're doing. There's up into the mountains, there'll still be snow, for example. Equally, we're going on the water. So I like that there's a lot to do in one destination. And I feel like we're in a groups there for 2 or 3 nights maximum. You kind of have to like make the most of it and do everything. Yeah, definitely get it up further up your bucket
Yeah,
list.
I think I need to. I'm going to raise it right to the top.
Yeah, raise it up.
Because I'm also obsessed with like ticking off new countries that I haven't been to. And so that's another reason why I'm like, it's so close. It's Europe.
Such an easy flight.
Yeah.
2 hours less than from Gatwick. So yeah.
The next part is about revisiting. So if you could relive, you know, transport yourself back into the past destination experience that you've had before, what would it be?
It would be to Oman, where I went on a fam trip back in 2021 with Sarah from Star Your World and Tarek from Magic Travels. And it was my first time, and I haven't been back since, but I'm dying to go back. I loved it. Again, winter sun, which is a big tick.
There's a theme here.
There is a theme. But equally, it was just like so untouched and so tranquil, but also really luxurious, very understated luxury. And again, another destination where there was so much to do. We stayed one night at Ritz-Carlton and had kind of like that poolside beach holiday resort feel. And then we went to the desert for a night, and then we finished in the mountains at the Anantara, which has the famous Diana's Point. So it was amazing. It was such a beautiful destination. Again, easy to travel to. I think that's another, the direct flight, 6-7 hours straight into Muscat. But yeah, I'm dying to go back. Professionally or personally.
Yeah, I would say I've been there twice now and I've loved it. And the most recent time was with season 2, members of the Flock community, and we went to the Anantara and Diana's Point, and we did rock climbing there.
Oh my goodness, they spoke about that there. It looked insane.
It is insane. And I would say there is nothing that brings you closer together than hanging off a rock face.
Yeah.
But I have a weird relationship with heights. Like, I wouldn't say I have a phobia of heights, but when you are harnessed to a rock, suddenly there is a phobia. And there was elements where it wasn't simple. I figured, oh, this is a mice group. It's going to be pretty much like handheld all the way there. No.
They threw you into it.
We had to, at one point, jump across an abyss from one ledge to the other. Like, I felt like I was Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. And at the same time was like holding on for dear life. And afterwards, the feeling was fantastic.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you kind of come away from it and you're like, wow, we've really achieved something. But yeah, that is a core memory.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You experience things you just don't do, like in the everyday. I had a similar, when we were in the desert, I was like, wow, this is really it. Like, this is the toilet, this is the shower, this is really happening. But just throwing yourself into it and experiencing, and I feel like that destination does that, definitely.
You also experienced dolphins, and I'm very jealous because, as I said, I've been there twice, never seen the dolphins.
We had, yeah, it was amazing. Like, there were so many. And they do stay by you as well, kind of once you've caught them, and we're all like, oh my God, wow. It was like they were putting on a show. They literally didn't leave our side for like 20 minutes. It was insane. They're a special creature.
And if you could make any hotel a home, what would it be?
This is hard. I like this question though, because it made me really think. So I live in London and I love London, but I grew up in Yorkshire, so I feel like there is a soft spot for the countryside. So the hotel I'd choose is probably one like Chewton Glen. Because, I mean, not only are their staff so friendly, like you walk in there, you feel like you're at home already. But have you been to their tree houses?
Yes.
Insane. I feel like we'd live a very happy, wholesome life if we were in a tree house 90% of the time.
Are we living there together? You're like, we live there.
We in general.
Yeah. No, I to this day, probably, I'm not sure how my luck was so good, but we were hosting 2 events at Chewton Glen back to back. And so what it meant was that from Monday to Friday, we had Monday, Tuesday an event, and then Wednesday doing nothing, and then Thursday, Friday an event. And for some reason, I was given a treehouse for the whole week.
Stop.
I know.
That's insane.
I was living, and it was Christmas time, and
oh my
I remember like I had
it's like the holiday. You're living your holiday life.
The best experience. I had the log fire burning. I had Michael Bublé playing, and I was just like, this is how I want to spend.
And they come pick you up in the little buggies, even though it's a 5-minute walk back to the hotel. Like, it's just amazing. I hosted an event there, but I didn't stay there. But obviously, all of my guests stayed there, so I got to go into the rooms all the time. But yeah,
they're
so
incredible.
I think that would win. It was difficult though. I was
a
close
good home
to picking
to have.
a London one.
Well, maybe you can have 2.
Yeah,
you know, you can commute.
Gonna make my move. I'm all in, got nothing to lose. Oh my, gonna shake it off. It ain't no thing, it ain't no thing. Oh my, doing what I want. Gonna do my thing, do my thing. Put it up high and take it low. I'm feeling right from head to toe. Light it up and let it roll. Here I go.
So the next part is reimagine. And so for that, it's about reimagining your role so that you're no longer doing these incredible trips for your clients, but doing it for yourself. So if you could organise an incentive trip for you, where would you go? What would you do? And which celebrity would you have with you?
Okay. On my bucket list is a safari. I've always wanted to do one, and hopefully I will at some point, so I would definitely choose that. And I think the Serengeti as well, so doing it in Africa, doing it in the heart of the Serengeti, and just having a week where it's like stripped back, you know, nobody cares about how you look or what you're wearing, and it's all about experiencing beautiful animals and creatures in their natural existence, because I feel like as the years go on, we're kind of like losing that as well. So I think capturing that whilst it's kind of so rich and pure would be insane. I would love to do one. Hopefully I'm lucky enough to do one day. And the company, I was thinking I would want someone to come with great stories, because I feel like when you're not on a game ride and you're just kind of round the fire pit, I want someone with good stories. So I think I would pick an interviewer like Ellen DeGeneres, who has interviewed like so many celebrities, so probably would have amazing stories, bring us the gossip that we need to keep us all entertained, but also she just seems so funny and easy to get along with. So I think I would pick her.
So you'd have all the tea around the fire. Yeah,
yeah,
I like that.
But then, you know, we'd go out on our adventures and just watch the animals and forget it all. But she would be good fun, good company, I reckon.
Yeah, I've done that trip. Luckily enough, I stayed at the Four Seasons Lodge in the Serengeti.
Insane.
And there's an infinity pool that then feeds onto a watering hole.
Oh my gosh.
And in the watering hole, you'll have elephants gather, and they will just drink.
I mean, that is just like I'm speechless even thinking about it.
Honestly,
yeah.
And I remember I was there for 4 or 5 days, and every day at breakfast I'd be like, oh, am I going to see them? Am I going to see them? And I wouldn't. And the last day, like I was an hour away from getting my transfer to fly home, and they came to say goodbye.
Aww.
It was just dreamy.
What a way to end a trip.
It was amazing. And like, you know, there was hot air balloons at sunrise, you know, meditations on kopis, which are the kind of rocks in the landscape. Did a walking safari, which was a little bit scary because you're literally exposed. But yeah, I think doing it in that environment, but then at night you've got the fire pits.
Yeah,
so
you can chat,
having
with
Ellen
people.
there, surrounded by the stars and just talking, like, so tell me more about when you interviewed blah, blah, blah. You know?
I also feel like it's such a once in a lifetime style trip that if I was landing a place on an incentive, I'd be so motivated to get on it. Because it's just, it's not your average holiday, is it?
Yeah, whatever company it is, if you're a car salesman, they're like the top 50, I would be flogging cars.
Me too. Anything. Yeah, I would love to go.
And finally, what is your letter to the industry?
I think my letter is almost a reminder of how powerful live events can be and the emotions that they can evoke and the connections that can be created. You know, whether you're kind of enjoying the intimacy of a private celebration or the anticipation of a major product launch, I think the thoughts and feelings such as like awe, joy, nostalgia, all of those kind of emotions are what really kind of makes a lasting impression, and that with the finer curated detail is what transforms just an occasion into something like really unforgettable. So I think it's a reminder to continue meeting in person and creating experiences where people can like genuinely connect and take something away from it.
That was what COVID really made clear to me, was that I was missing those multi-sensory experiences. You know, there was some really incredible digital experiences that were happening, but when you see, smell, hear, taste, like that environment, the memories are locked in, and
they really are, and they're like, you know, it can be so special to look back on, but also look forward to the next one too. And I think no matter what the purpose of meeting is for, whether it be, you know, more serious or less serious, I think there's always a place for that in-person connection, without a doubt.
And targeting that emotional trigger, you know, whether it's, like you say, joy or awe or whatever it is, but being able to invoke emotions is when you know you've really ticked the box.
Exactly, yeah. Probably one of the aspects of my job I most enjoy, definitely.
The very last part is just a series of quickfire questions. So, packing last minute or week before?
Week before,
Carry on or check in?
check in.
You thought about that one?
I did. My work trips, like Slovenia 24 hours, is a on board, but a week to Barbados, checking in a bag, without a doubt.
Did you pack for your Barbados trip before you went to Slovenia?
So this is why I also stuttered over that one too. I did. So I had a big suitcase out and I had packing cubes ready, but I knew I'd have to come back, take things out from Slovenia case, wash it, dry it, and put it in. So yeah, it was a thought ahead process.
That's far too organised for me. But what I do like is packing cubes.
Me too. Game changing.
I'm here
That's
for
so
that.
good.
Airport lounge or shopping?
Shopping.
Aisle or window?
Window.
City or nature?
Nature.
I could have guessed that one. Lay-in or early start?
Early start.
Poolside or seaside?
Seaside.
You unsure about that
Yeah,
one?
sometimes the sea. If I could pick the sea, like the sea that I'm going to, then the sea.
Okay, so it's a very specific seaside.
Yeah, like the Caribbean Sea.
Yeah, you like
is
that
a
hot
win.
take, yeah.
But I don't know, a crowded beach in Europe, maybe the pool.
Yeah. Brighton seaside where it's cold and stony. No.
Stones,
Yeah.
no.
Planned or spontaneous?
Planned. Yeah, I am. You're talking to an event planner.
Breakfast, hot or cold?
At the minute, cold. Yeah.
Really? It's winter and you're saying you'd rather a cold at the moment?
I don't know. Sometimes the hot, greasy food doesn't set my day off right. I prefer like a cold shake, fresh orange juice.
You're in your cold breakfast era.
Yeah.
And finally, hotel, room service or restaurant?
Restaurant. I like to people watch and try the food and have the waiting service that you can't get at home.
People watching in a hotel is the best place.
So much
That
fun.
and airports.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for being part of the Flock community and being on this podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.